Yeah, exactly. Like most people would say, okay, what's my ROI on this? And they're looking short term, but the fact that these colors don't wear, obviously if there's abuse to it or there's outside, if you're putting them outside in any way, and there could be some temperature, weather related usage or wear on them. But the concept is that they'll last forever, and basically you're getting those savings as long as you have those on there. So now you mentioned you might need to put more than one on the pipe. So how does that work? Like, how do you determine that factor of how much you need?
Well, we determine that three ways. So one is your total expenditure on gas. So, you get up between, from $100,000 to $1 million on a piece of equipment. In some cases, in an apartment building, for example, let's say you're spending $150,000 in heating and gas boiler costs. We want to make sure that we are as efficient as possible with how many colors we're putting on and getting that payback right. Second factor, we're not just going to stack up colors from here to the moon to say, hey, we want to make sure that payback fits right. The second is we look at the BTU rating of the pieces of equipment. So the make and model, and so for the amount of BTUs being pushed through, what is the right mix of colors to make sure that combustion is as efficient as possible. And so, on your average, and I'll use apartment high rise in that $100,000 range, usually it works out to about 6 colors per pipe. 6 to 8 is usually sort of in that range, is what we found to be sort of the best range of efficiency of savings and efficiency on cost to the final property ownership group. So we try and find that mix there of, I think you'd probably find it too in your business where, in this case, probably 80% of their costs of heating are probably coming from 50% of their combustion sites. And so we like to have a conversation with all manufacturers or property owners and say, okay, walk us through your operation. Do you have auxiliary units that are just sitting there to jump in if something breaks down? Do we need to treat that because it's just hopping on for maintenance purposes, or is everything running 24/7 all the time? And let's make sure to cover all our bases.
Yeah, so you're on the lookout for their particular building plan and effectiveness at that particular building. Do you do all that remotely? Do you have to go on site? Like, how does the process start from if a customer is interested in that?
Well, what's great about this product in particular and the stuff that goes on pipes is, number one, it can be installed by property management teams, HVAC teams, plumbing teams, and that can all be done remotely. So we operate out of Ontario, but currently we just walked through an installation in Alberta. So what that involves is a little bit of a phone call and a bit of trading of information, and in some cases companies have had an energy audit already performed in their building. And I'm going to use buildings just for an example for today. I mean, whether it's a manufacturing facility, a little bit different, but usually there's been some information gathered which we can kind of quickly figure out the BTU and the model and make and model number of boilers or air handlers and make a quick estimate. The second thing we do like is for a property management team to be on site and just do a last check on the size of the pipe. Because obviously we ship collars and they're heavy to ship. Like they're not light, they're heavy magnets. And so we like to make sure we're shipping the exact right number and size. But once they're there, we've done Zoom installations. We've done the installations ourselves. We've worked with third parties to do the installation. And because you don't have to shut any machinery off, there's certainly an ease of, as soon as you shut something off in a building, people get worried. I mean, we do have other products where we do that on the plumbing side. But for this in particular, it's a great, I guess, low trust product to start with and say, hey, guys, we don't have to turn anything off. You're going to be able to see the flame change. We're going to then get your HVAC team to balance your system again. And I like to use the layman terms of turning everything back down a little bit. But really, it's balancing your system to reflect the new amount of heat coming through your system.